When you step in front of a new team, that meeting matters more than most leaders realize. Because in that moment, your team isn't just listening to your words. They're trying to figure out who you are. They're trying to figure out what kind of leader you're going to be. Can they trust you? Do you actually care about people? Are you clear? Are you all about yourself or all about the team? And whether most leaders realize it or not, that first meeting sets the tone. It creates a huge first impression that can be hard to undo if you don't do it right. So if you're a new leader or you're about to take over a new team, you can't afford to wing that conversation. You need to think through what matters to you, what your standards are, what kind of culture you want to create, and what your people need to hear from you on day one. In this video, I want to help you do exactly that. I'm going to walk you through how to build your first leadership conversation for your new team. What you should say, what you should avoid, and I'm going to give you a practical framework so when that moment presents itself, you're ready. I'm also going to give you a real-world example of the framework that I use with my new teams or my new check-ins to set the tone. I've done this for nearly 20 years, and I want to help you set the tone and get it right the first time so you have your best foot forward as a new leader. Let's get after it. First up, let's talk about why this actually matters. Most new leaders treat that first meeting as a formality. They introduce themselves, they talk about where they came from, but at the end of the day, they don't talk about it a lot. And their team, they leave that conversation with no real standards and no real outcomes or understanding about who you are as a leader. And that's a mistake. This first meeting is all about setting the tone for your team. It's your first opportunity to create clarity, reduce uncertainty, and start building real trust with your team. And remember, trust is the currency of leadership, and you need it. With this conversation, it's the foundation. Trust me, your people are all thinking the same thing when they get a new leader. They're wondering, what's this leader gonna change? What's this leader care about? Is this leader gonna care about me? They're wondering, what does this leader actually value? And that's why this conversation matters so much. Your people don't need some perfectly crafted speech that has all the right tone and all the right things, like you're trying to motivate them to take over the world. They need to know what you stand for, and they need to know what they can expect from you. That's the real purpose of this conversation. You're not there to impress them. You're not there to make yourself sound important. And you're not there to give them your entire biography. You're there to give clarity because clarity gives confidence and confidence leads to trust. If you don't set the tone early, your team's going to start filling in those blanks, and that doesn't go well for anybody. So let's talk about the biggest mistakes that new leaders make when they have this first conversation. These are ones I've seen leaders make hundreds of times. So I'm laying it all out to help you not make the same mistake. The first mistake I see all the time is where the leader makes this meeting all about themselves. They just talk about who they are, where they've been, and what they've done. The biography. And that's it. Hello, this is who I am, and they don't give any tone-setting language in this meeting. Now listen, I know your background matters a little bit. Your people need to know where you've been and where you've come from. But if that's all you talk about, you're missing the mark. They need to understand what matters to you. Second mistake I see all too often is when they try to come in and they try to act tough. Some leaders, for some reason, believe that this meeting, when they introduce themselves, is about asserting dominance and showing them that they need to know who's in charge. So they come in all hot. Your team doesn't need you to tell them that you're in charge. That's why you have the title. Leaders who need to say that out loud or say I'm in charge typically are the weaker leaders. They start talking about their standards or what's important, but they do it in a way that comes off threatening instead of tone setting. And what they believe is coming off as strength usually signals insecurity to your team. Your team does need to know that you have standards, but they also need to know that you're going to be fair, you're going to be steady, and that you're going to be grounded. The third mistake that I see a lot is when the leader is too vague. Some leaders say things that don't really have a lot of meaning. like we're going to work hard, we're going to be the best, or we're going to have accountability. That may sound fine, but what does that actually mean? What matters to you? What are your non-negotiables? What kind of behaviors are you going to protect? What kind of culture are you going to help create? If you're too vague, your team walks away with nothing. The fourth mistake is forgetting to tell your team what they can expect from you. And this is a huge one. A lot of leaders will talk about expectations going down. Very few leaders talk about expectations and responsibilities going up. But if you want to build trust, you have to explain what the expectations are for them and what can they expect and trust you to do as well. That means a lot. So those are some of the common mistakes that I see. So take a look at those again to make sure that when you're crafting this, you're not making those common mistakes. Those will set you off on the wrong path. Next, let's talk about the goal of this first leadership conversation. Why do we even have this tone-setting meeting in the first place? The goal is simple. By the end of this meeting, your team should walk away with 6 things. Who you are, what you value, what you expect, what they can expect from you, what kind of culture are you going to protect, and how the team is going to grow under your leadership. That's it. If they walk away with those 6 things, you've done your job well. Now let me show you an example framework that I use to help you get an idea of the conversation. When I introduce myself to a new team, yes, I do talk about myself a little bit, where I've been, what I've done, my backstory, so they understand what kind of leader I am. Where I've been and the experiences I have had have helped me develop my leadership philosophy and how I lead as a person. But remember, I move quickly into what matters. For me, I set the expectations based on what level of person or group that I'm talking to. If I'm talking to my frontline leaders, I talk to them about taking care of people, how I expect them to ensure that they are taken care of on all fronts, that they're doing their job, that they're going to become the experts, and that I want to hear from them if there's feedback needed. If I'm talking to a more junior level, then I might just talk about their job processes and what I expect them to do at that level. The goal here is to customize the conversation to the level that you're leading to. The next part I want to talk about is the piece where I tell them what they can expect from me or what I value in our organization. And as a senior executive leader, I created an acronym to make it easy. I tell my team, I carry the pack, P-A-C-K. The first bit I talk about is my number one priority is the people. I want to make sure that they are taken care of on all levels, that they have the training they need to be successful, that they have the equipment to be successful and it works, that their physical and mental health is taken care of, their family is taken care of, they're getting paid. All of that goes into people. I've been a people-focused leader almost my entire career. I'm a firm believer that if you take care of the people, everything else follows. But if you mess up taking care of people, you can't even get to the mission. Next, a huge priority for me is that I want to make sure that I'm accessible. My job requires me to know and listen to what's going on at the ground level and understand how our policies and how our people are actually doing. One of those things is being accessible to those people. If they knock on my door and want to have a conversation, I invite them in. If they call me, I invite them to have that conversation. I want to make sure that I'm where I'm needed at all times. So every level of my entire organization has the ability to make contact with me and make sure that I'm accessible to them when they need it. In my job, I do everything from career development, helping them solve problems, to even just mentoring and helping train them to being, kind of a counselor. So accessibility is critical for my position. The next thing I talk about with them is culture, that I expect a culture of dignity and respect, that everybody gets the equal opportunity to be successful. We don't care about skin color, sex, national origin, any of that stuff. I care about how good are you at your job, how passionate are you. Any of that other stuff is irrelevant. And I expect all my leaders to lead the same way. This is where I talk about that I won't tolerate toxic leadership, that I will come out and take care of that very quickly because, again, our business depends on a culture of dignity and respect. I may be senior, but that doesn't mean I get to treat you poorly just because you're junior to me. The last piece I talk about is the art of Kaizen, or what's known as continuous improvement. I expect my team to go out there, learn from the job, and always be continuously improving. If they fail or they're not as successful as they want to be, think about, hey, how can I be better tomorrow? And I adopt the same thing as a leader. I may have been doing this job for nearly 20 years, but I can always learn something new. And that's it. That's kind of the framework that I give out. I give them the expectations, and that lets me talk about everything that I value, what I expect from them, what they can expect from me, and it encompasses the entire conversation. So they actually get a snapshot of who I am, vice just my biography. So now I've given you an example. So in this next section, let's talk about how you can build your own first leadership conversation. I'm going to try to make this as practical and easy as possible so anyone with any leadership experience can do it. If you stick around to the end, you're going to have a real framework that you can present as a leader tomorrow. So here's the framework. The first part is who you are. Keep this short. This is a little bit about your history, where you've been, what you've led. Don't go into the nitty-gritty details. Give me the cliff notes of your experience. This should be about 2 minutes max, just enough to give people context. Number 2 is, what do you value? Ask yourself, what really matters to me as a leader? Not what sounds good, but what actually matters to you? People, trust, communication, accountability. Pick the values that actually drive how you lead. So choose values that are aligned with your leadership. Number 3 is, what are your non-negotiables? This is where you state your standards. What will you not tolerate? Is it lack of respect, dishonesty, people being tardy? Think about your leadership pet peeves. And this can be specific to the job you're going to lead as well. This is where you set the tone and give your team their first sense of clarity about what you expect as a leader. Number 4 is, what can your team expect from you? This is huge. Will you be fair? Will you be honest? Will you be accessible? Will you back up your team? Are you going to listen to them? Think about what you expected from leaders that you worked with in the past. That will give you a good idea of what you expect. Even if you had a bad leader, that might teach you, hey, I'm not going to lead this way. I'm going to lead differently over here. So tell them what they can expect from you. Number 5 is, what kind of culture are you trying to build? Be specific here. What does good culture look like under your leadership? Think about, what do you expect when it comes to respect? What do you expect for communication? What about connectedness? Do you expect your team to learn? Maybe it's your expectations on how your team celebrates wins or how they onboard new people. Set that groundwork on what culture looks like. Number 6 is, how will your team grow under your leadership? Start out by telling them that their growth matters. In this area, I talk about how failure happens, and what I expect is, if we fail or make a mistake, that we learn and don't make it twice. I don't judge people on their mistakes. I judge people on how they recover, learn, and be better from those mistakes. Tell them how you're going to come to the table and help teach them, and how you're going to develop them. I talk to my team and I say things like, hey, if you don't know how to do it, come to me and I'll show you how to do it. Even if I got to show you 20 times, I want you to know how to do it with confidence. If you can answer those 6 questions, you've got the skeleton for a great first leadership conversation. If you check out the comments, I'll pin a comment where I give you a fill-in-the-blank framework to get you started with word to word what you can say. So check out the comments and get it there. And let me know what you think of the framework. So if you're ready for that first conversation with your team, here's what I want you to do next. First, write down your top 3 to 5 values, not borrowed values, your values. Next, write down those non-negotiables, just cliff notes of what is important to you. Next, write down what your team can expect from you. Number 4 is what kind of culture are you going to build? Next, combine everything from this video into a short script or conversation that's the framework of your first team meeting. This shouldn't be a 30-minute motivational speech, just a short, intentional conversation. And finally, get out there and practice this in front of the mirror or on camera so you can perfect it. You don't want to go into that first meeting and just wing it from your memory. Practice it. See what the pacing is like. See where your pauses are. You want to have confidence when you have this conversation, and practice builds confidence. Remember, you want your team to walk away knowing what kind of leader you are. That's the goal. Remember, this first meeting as a new leader isn't just a meeting. This is your first opportunity to set the foundation, set the tone, and build trust. So don't waste that moment. Think through everything in this video, go back and watch my framework so you can build this out, and then practice so you can perfect it and deliver it with confidence. If this video helped you and you're stepping into a new leadership role, tell me what you think. Drop it in the comments. Share this with those new leaders out there who are walking into their first meeting for the first time so they can put their best foot forward. And if you like content just like this, where I help you become a better leader, subscribe to my channel. I try to drop a video every other week. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching.